World famous, man. But I just slept all the yesterday. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Love, love, love. It's your boy Big Dan. It's going down Big Dog Boss status. I want to welcome you to World Famous Radio 424 live at Rec Philly. Make some motherfucking noise, y'all. Woo! So we got a heavyweight in the building. This guy's one of the nicest fucking guys ever. Super in fucking shape right now. I thought he was a Marine when I first saw him. We got Carlos in the fucking building, man. Let's do it, man. We love Philly.
I feel like I should do some pull-ups or something.
We can do it on camera, like do a clip of it at the end, right? Yeah, man. So welcome to World Famous Radio. Like I told you, bro, the whole purpose of this platform is for you to tell your story as a creative in Philadelphia, somebody who I look to as a boss. I look at you. I look at your moves in the community. Is great. The first time I heard about you was from Will Times, about your organization, We Love Philly, the stuff you were doing in the community, and then I met you in person at the old window factory, right? Yeah, right. And I don't really remember exactly how we kept running into each other, but we kept seeing each other. I know you're a super cool guy, so let's just go in, man. You can just tell your story. Start from the beginning wherever you want to. We got how long we got? Because we started late.
Intro.
It's all love, man. We got 30 minutes, so you know.
Where do I start?
Where you from, bro?
Philly. So
born and raised?
Born and raised in Philly. I've lived in Tacony. I've lived in North Philly. My dad's always been in either the Fairhill neighborhood or Juniata Park. So I've been in Philly most of my life. I just didn't go to high school here. I went out to Delaware County by the airport and went to high school there.
Okay.
My mom was like, you ain't going to high school in Philly.
Right.
And at the time, I was like, what the like, how are you going to move me, right? We were talking about it earlier. Like,
right.
13's that age.
Yep.
You trying to turn up.
Yeah, we left, and I was pissed.
Right.
But yeah, now that I teach high school in Philly, I like kind of thank her once a month.
Really? What school do you teach at?
One Bright Ray Community High School.
Well, that's your first school?
Yeah, that's the first and only school I've ever worked at. So I started teaching in 2014, and One Bright Ray is an alternative high school. It services overaged and underaccredited students, which is just like a nice way to say dropouts.
Okay,
I mean, if I'm being real.
Yeah.
It's the way you put it on the mission.
Did you know you always wanted to be a teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So going through high school, right, especially with history, so I'm a history teacher, so going through high school, right, and you're sitting there in history classes, and they legit have all of time to work with, and they still make it boring.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, how's that even possible to still do that? So, yeah, that was the move. I knew that in high school after I had a good history teacher, and then I went to college, and then it was off from there. But it was when I was originally doing it, and I still think I battle with it today, it like came from ego. Like to think that I went to Temple to go to school, so I was like in and out of a lot of the public schools for student teaching, etc. And I was like, I can fix this.
Yeah.
But that was like 21-year-old me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can change the world. I got this.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Like they're doing it wrong, right?
So did you want to work in underserved communities and underrepresented communities?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Why they don't need. They have the technology in the suburbs. They have
the money.
The money, right? There's why to make the biggest difference, you have to go where there's the most need, right?
Right.
So
right.
it was especially going to Temple too, living on campus the whole time. You're just and going in and out of the schools, and even just meeting and chilling with neighborhood kids on stoops, right? Like if they just walk by and like having conversations. Yeah, it was.
It's crazy.
I knew.
Were you the only one that felt like that when you were in college, or did you have a group of friends that was on the same type time?
No, I didn't. It was weird. I was like the only guy in all the education classes. I think that's like a legit problem in general in education is there's not a lot of male influence. Like I would say if there was 40 people in a Temple class, there was probably like 6 guys.
And that's across the board, no matter what ethnicity you were.
I mean, my experience in Philly, yeah. Like and even working at places, right? Like the most people in education are female. Not nothing against females, but still it's a different energy to be a positive male role model, right? Like growing up myself, my dad wasn't in my life until later. Okay. So I think that's where the inspiration to become a teacher comes from, as well as how can I be for other people what I always wanted as a kid. Okay. Right. And I wanted that positive male figure. I wanted someone in my life who showed me how to do things, who showed me the patience, who was there for me. And I didn't get that. So then it's like, oh, okay, that's purpose, right? How can I be what I didn't get, and then turn that victimhood that I had, that betrayal that I didn't grow up with in like a stable household. How can I turn that into my power and let me go help people who are going through that every day?
Okay, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
because I was one of those kids too that was looking for a positive male role model. Because I had my grandfather. I didn't meet my dad till later either.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yo, you know what's so crazy that I never knew what it was like to have like being like a one parent household, because I was always my mom and my dad. But my mom transitioned like really a year ago around like today, and like she transitioned on September 15th. So I never knew what it was like to be in like have just one parent until my mom transitioned. And then I just had now I have my dad. And I'm like, wow, like now I know how it feels 31 years later. Like, yo, I never knew what a friend or anybody felt like just having one parent. I never got that. So that's crazy. Yeah.
I felt the opposite. It felt weird to me to have both parents.
Really?
Because I met my dad at 12. So like I went through and honestly, I didn't live with my mom until I was 12, 13 either.
Where'd you live at?
My grandparents.
Okay,
They raised me until I was like 12.
But I never got that either, how like grandparents raised the kid, but the parents are still in the world. I always wondered that, like, how does that work? You know what I mean?
My mom.
Drugs.
Yes, I was just gonna say.
No. I know it's
true.
drugs. I'm just saying, like, I always never understood, like, how.
Sorry, mom and dad.
No, I mean, it's so true though. Like,
I just never got it though. Like, how? Like, so y'all looked at y'all grandparents as like parents.
They were my parents. Yes.
No.
So you loved them.
I didn't.
Okay,
Go ahead, finish, please.
I didn't when they were raising me though. I resented them because I didn't understand why my parents weren't around.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, my grandmom, she had a string. So all the trauma in my family comes from my grandmom. And well, I don't want to say all of it comes from her, but because it was probably passed on to her.
It's karma.
Yeah. But when I went to live with her, I was like 4. So like from 4 to 8, my mom couldn't take care of us. Drugs, alcohol, the whole thing.
I was 4 as well when I got dropped off.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Exactly.
Wow, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember specifically 4 going, hey, do you want to go with your grandmom or do you want to go with your dad? And I didn't really know my dad. And I was like, it's like one of my earliest memories. And I was like, no.
You said you were 4 years old? You can remember that?
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
So, but she didn't want to deal with any of us, my grandmom. So she put us all on Ritalin. So she took care of my older brother. Right, so my mom couldn't take care of my older brother. He's 6 years older than me.
Damn.
Then she got me and my little brother. So and then her son was put on similar medication. It wasn't Ritalin yet.
Yeah,
Ritalin I think was a 90s thing. But then so when I was with her, it was just like full on zombie. It was like zombie mode and fear.
All the
she
kids
were just
like on drugs.
Yeah.
So y'all were just zombieing around,
sit in front of the TV,
watching the fucking Simpsons.
My Power Rangers.
My mom that had me on Concerta. I think they tried Ritalin first, and they went to Concerta. But what it is, what I learned, what I think it was, is that because they just were older, that it couldn't keep up with younger kids. Yeah. And you know how it was. That's what it really was. These kids had no issues.
They have doctors telling them it's okay. Like,
I
mean, who are you going to listen to? You don't know what the hell like pharmaceutical drug is.
You think you should trust them?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking crazy, man. Mm-hmm. That's fucking crazy. All right, so you're in college right now.
Yeah. And
you're sitting on the stoop meeting kids from the neighborhood. So was We Love Philly an idea yet? Did that pop up yet?
No.
Okay.
We Love Philly came from being a teacher and realizing how flawed the educational system was, at least in Philadelphia, right?
Can we speak on that real quick? Like, can you give us an example of how was it flawed?
All right. So my go-to statistic and what I've noticed it spans across the board is there's an organization in Philadelphia started by the city. It's called Read by Fourth. So in Read by Fourth, they did a huge study, tons of kids in Philly, 67%, so 2/3, right? There's 125,000 kids in the school district. 2/3 of them aren't reading at grade level by 4th grade.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't till 3rd.
By 8th, I think, and I might be wrong on this statistic, but by 8th or 9th, it's only 40%.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, or it might be 60. I'm flip-flopping one of those, but still.
Right.
Kids, people growing up in Philly that have been through the educational system, there's a good chance they're not reading at grade level, right? So that's twofold. So now it's self-confidence, self-esteem, because this is something you're supposed to know how to do. All these teachers assume you know how to do it. So now you have to relive that trauma of not knowing how to do it every single day in the classroom.
And they're forcing you to do it, but they don't know that you don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Now you're like, read this paragraph, and you're like,
yeah,
like that's traumatic if you're a teenager, because you think everyone cares about what you think, right? You think you're the center of the universe. Everything's about me. So to not be able to do that and then be on that stage of the classroom where, right, like I know a lot of my students, they never even been off their block, right? So if they're in the classroom and all eyes on me, like that might as well be a stage with 10,000 people. Yeah. So if that trauma inside of the classroom, We Love Philly came from realizing that and going, we need to get students outside of the classroom and make the community the classroom. Because I did that through an organization called Students Run Philly Style, where I was mentoring students to race, do long distance running. So we were training for Broad Street Run, half marathons. So once I saw them outside running around Philly, seeing different parts, having fun, making relationships, they're like, I still talk to those. This was like 5 years ago. I still talk to those students. They're all still friends. I saw them at the protest this summer. And I was
wow, that's amazing.
And that's
all black kids or
black and Puerto Rican. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
that's what it's about, though, right? Like, how can we start at the bottom, build that self-esteem step by step? And the best way to do that is to take them out of the environment where the self-esteem has been crashed. I mean, it's not all school's fault, but it's a huge part of a kid's life. So that's where We Love Philly came from. How can I get them out of the environment and use the community to teach the students? Because it shouldn't just come from teachers, right? There's no reason why the teacher should be the only one teaching the student, right? Like back in the day, it was neighbors, it was community, it was whoever. We trusted one another. So how do you rebuild that trust? You let students lead the way, right? Mm-hmm. Being a history teacher, all social movements, it seems like, in our country come from the youth. So let the youth be the ones to teach the older generation, hey, this is our community. We're going to come together. We're going to trust each other. We're going to fix it. And then hopefully the older generation sees that and starts to back the younger generation. But just putting them in those positions to lead is huge.
2 questions. So do you ever, the students who you were tapping into and showing them a different environment, do you ever receive opposition from students who just don't want to go in that direction? You know, the ones who think they're too cool for school.
Oh, yeah.
And then do you ever receive opposition from the older people, the older teachers, older individuals who don't understand why you're doing what you're doing?
Yes.
Can we speak on that? Yeah.
So with the teachers, it's like, why are you doing so much? Right?
Really?
It's ego.
They'll ask you that.
No, they won't say it. I mean,
well, you can feel it, like
yeah.
Okay,
it's just like like what you're like. Example, you're doing a 14-hour cleanup. Like some teachers will support it,
right?
But some people are like, you're doing too much. You're making us look bad. Do less.
Wow.
Right? And you doing this is going to make me have to go do it.
But that's
too.
that scarcity mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason why you can't find. This is me. Like, I'm not expecting you to do that. I have boundless amounts of energy. Like, this is how I get it out,
right.
And I'm gonna give it out to the students. There's something that you could be doing too. It doesn't have to be like you're doing too much. It could be like, how can I take my skill set and then use that to influence students too?
Yeah, because everybody has something that they could contribute.
Yeah, exactly. With the students, you have the too cool for
too cool for the cool shit.
Yeah. But all you have to do for that is build the main core of the students who are into it and who are having fun, and they see that genuineness, right? We're all attracted to that genuine person who's being themselves. Yeah. So when they see the other students having fun with one another, making videos, being on podcasts, being on the news, they're like, yo, what?
I want to be a part.
Yeah, exactly. That's I mean, you just have to build it, right? We're such like tribal beings that if you can build, we're all doing it if we're all trying to be independent. You're trying to build that tribe and be like, hey, we're here to make a change, and I just have to do it for good. I was such a terrible person growing up because of all the trauma I went through and just being oblivious to how my actions affect other people, that once I was given that second chance, it was,
So when did your second chance start? And you said like, I don't want to go into how like you were a terrible person, but when did you receive that second chance, and what made you seek that second chance out? Do you have any questions?
No.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
The second chance came from like going within, realizing first that I was a bad person, realizing.
What does that mean? You're a bad. If you want to go into detail on World Famous Radio, you can do it, but
I would manipulate everyone to get what I want.
Okay,
and think it was okay, like it was normal, like whatever. Like I'm gonna get my way, and I know like deep, like emotional. I knew how to like. It was bad, but it all stems from your own trauma in your own childhood, your own lack of love. So you're like, why trust these other people if the people in my life didn't love me? Like they're not gonna love me. Who cares? Just use them, get what I get, and then roll out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's heavy, man.
that mindset, right? The ones who really loved me, though, then this is what tripped me out. Then this was like that helped me with that awakening. The people who really loved me already knew that about me, and they didn't care because they knew that under that there was something else there that I didn't even realize. So when they forgave me and I like started to have my own epiphanies, and they were all like, yeah, we know, but like we know underneath that, like you are like this, like you have this spirit that could just like help, and like you're really a good person. You just haven't dealt with the trauma. And once they forgave me, and once they like really saw me, and they were like, "We love you anyway," that was just like, I do deserve to be loved. So if I deserve to be loved, I gotta help other people realize they deserve to be loved. But you gotta deal with your own demons and your own closet.
Did you struggle with that transition in any capacity, or was it easy? Because we both know Leonzo, and I remember when Leonzo was talking about his transition into from I don't want to say his his old name, but from so and so into Leonzo. That he was hungry for that transition. Like I remember we had conversations. He was like, "Man, I knew I needed that to become who he is now." And I think his transition has been like maybe like a 5-year thing into this totally new person. But it was always him. But I just remember him saying like, "Wow, bro, I needed that. I needed it so bad, to become who I needed to become."
Yes.
Did you struggle with that in any capacity, or were you thirsty for it?
Originally, I didn't care, right? I was like, I'm cool. I can just be a teacher, right? And I can just do what I'm going to do and then just go with the flow or whatever. It wasn't until I started to realize all the wrongs I did and then call the people and ask them for forgiveness and even just let them know, yo, this is what I was about. Like, I'm sorry. And then having them go, it's fine. Like, I appreciate you doing this. That made me go, okay, I'm on, there's something here. That's when I got hungry. I was like, I need a mentor. I need to find people who can like help me through going from completely dark to like completely light, right? And when you say Leonzo, that's what I think of, right?
Yeah. One time for the whole village, by the way, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
Someone who's just like that ball of light. And I never met people like that. But the cool thing, and I don't know if this is universe, God, whatever you believe in, whatever you want to call it. Once you really what's the saying? Once you ask, the master appears when the student is ready.
Yeah, I've heard that. Ooh.
So once I started to like,
that's a gem.
Once I started asking it, I'm like, man, I really need to find something. I need to find people or community. I need guidance. Literally the next day, I like came across it. Like met these people. They taught me meditation. The whole
showed up right in front of you.
Yo, it was wild. Like literally the next day, and I was like, okay, that's like, all right.
That's the universe.
There's the synchronicity. You finally found your path. You manifested it immediately because that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Not this other BS you've been doing. Like, this is it. And then that was probably like 26 or 27. And I've been on the journey ever since.
So my question, real quick, you have any question?
No, go
My
ahead.
question is, so you said that you were kind of like a bad person before that transition. But you were also trying to do good in the community with kids. So how would that work? Did you feel bad for trying to feel good and do good, but still felt like you were bad?
No, I just that was the balance. That's what I told myself, right? I can be whatever on the outside, and then I can balance it out by being like a teacher and committed, etc. But even still, the committed teacher, etc., was still driven kind of by like ego, right? And it was just like, I'll figure it out. I know it. Like I'll do it. And it was just like me. It's on me to figure it out. And that's not like.
Talk to the mic, yeah.
Just
that only gets you so far, right? Like you're gonna hit a wall, or someone's gonna call you out on it and be like, "You're not doing it for X, you're doing it for you."
Right.
So so like
is
it
there
was
an
just like your own
motive?
it's like your own, and that's like that old pattern that I was trying to get rid of, right? Like once you asked, did you struggle making a transition? Like you like relapse on it. Right, like you're just like, oh, there's that pattern again, and then until you'll eventually you catch it, right? And the same thing in the classroom. Like I'd be still getting upset at kids, and I'm like, oh, I'm upset at you because you're like me, and that's what I don't like about me. Before I started transitioning and try to do better, I couldn't see that. I would just get frustrated and whatever.
Right.
But once you start to see that the reflection of you and everyone else,
your energy is you.
Yeah,
I deal with that
it's the parts you don't like.
Yes. Like that was. I remember this one student, man. He would question everything, but he would question it just to question it, to like look cool and be like, I'm challenging the teacher, but he would have no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
But I was like, that was me when I was younger, trying to like get the attention that I never got, and there was my stage, right?
Yeah.
But I would get upset at him and like be way more short-tempered with him, and then it was like, oh, like you do this, and you still even do it now sometimes in your 20s. Like that's one of your old patterns. Like, yeah.
Wow.
That's the blessing of teaching, though. You do learn so much about you, and you just learn to just, you have to deal with that stuff if you're going to be in the teaching game and care for the long term. If you're not going to care, me and Riley were having a conversation earlier. If you don't really care about teaching, it's the easiest job in the world because no one's watching you, right? You're in the classroom. Administration's so overworked. Like everyone, it just is doing way too many things that you could really skate by if you just like get cool with the kids. And you remember probably when the principal would come one day a year and the teacher's like, listen, he would give you the pep talk.
We got to act like a class today.
Yeah. Like, so there's that end. But if you really care and you really want to be a good teacher, it is. Like you saw, I'm working on school stuff. You pulled me in at 8:00. I'm still going. I've been going since 7.
Right.
So like that, if you really care and you're really trying to impact individual people, that's the dedication you need. And I say it all the time. If you're not about it, then don't be a teacher, because that's, at least in Philly, because that's what Philly students need.
Because you could do more of a disservice.
Yes, exactly.
And you're taking up space.
Yes, and not being consistent. Exactly.
Yeah. I had a question.
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of on a topic of what we were talking about earlier. But what do you think the future of education is going to be post-COVID? With everything being on Zoom.
That's what I wanted to ask. Yeah,
all these different things. What do you think could be the next step?
And I want to add to that. With everything being virtual now, do you think it's going to be an issue for kids who rely on school lunches to survive and like that food? So how does that work?
I was one of those kids.
No,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah. How does that work?
So our school actually stays open as like a hub in case students want to come in.
Okay.
And if they need that, we can provide it.
Okay.
But it's such a.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's
still open for that.
It's such a real thing in Philly. Like students come, some of their meals, like we have those students, like they come from that breakfast and lunch that we provide.
Right.
And I'll take students out, like if we come to rec or we go, like here's pizzas, and they destroy them. Destroy them.
I love pizza.
Yo.
When you were in school, pizza was way fucking different, bro. Pizza in school when you were kids,
exciting.
Yeah, but your question,
post-COVID school, it's not, or even COVID school, it's not gonna, in my opinion, work in Philadelphia. Like from what I'm experiencing right now, the students are distracted, right? They're at home, they can be in bed if they want to be, they can be on their phone, or a lot of my students, they have like they have tons of siblings all doing virtual learning, all in the same room, all at the same time.
See, can you hear them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every time a student unmutes, it sounds like pure chaos in the background.
Oh my.
Really?
Yeah. So that's not an environment for learning. The future of school, in my opinion, I think the school district has like dropped the ball our whole lives. Right? Like, I don't know how many times I've heard in the news, school district this, school district this, school district this. But I don't see why school's not going to go to the same wave as what's going on in Rec Philly right now. Like, individuals having their own schools, having their own charters, proving through their own work and their own portfolio, right? Here's everything I do. It's all in the public. Like, here it all is. You fund it. You donate, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That, I think, eventually will be the wave, because there's not the institutions, just they're not set up for you to care, right? Like, think about a teacher, right? If a classroom has 35 students in it and you have 5 classes a day,
Yeah.
that's exactly, yeah.
How he saw them off trying to figure it out. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, how am I supposed to give the amount of love that I want to every single student and love myself and like give myself the rest and feel like I'm not shortchanging someone in that scenario? And then when I do feel like I'm shortchanging someone in this scenario, I feel bad, because I know that's like, I'm against that, right? So now you're beating yourself up about it, and it's not a good cycle. It needs to be smaller. It needs to be more personal. It needs to be, in my opinion, it needs to be what the community has to have the say. The village has to raise the child. There's no reason why it should just be a teacher with 35 kids. There should be a Big Dan's coming in today to teach about real estate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you're like, what? That, Big Dan's in?
Yeah, everybody goes crazy.
Yeah, right.
One time for Luke Butler, by the way. Luke Butler was the first guy to ever give me opportunities to speak in schools and speak to young kids. Yeah, one time for Luke.
Riley's coming in to teach about how to start a record label.
Right.
All of those things have to happen, because then the student sees, oh, it's not just this teacher who's being paid to give me this. Because as a teenager, you're looking for any excuse to blame you. It's your fault.
Right.
And the easiest way is, well, you're just doing it for a paycheck. Right? I said it when I was growing up. You're just doing it for a paycheck. But if I have if I have community people coming in or going on site, we're coming to Dan. He's showing us how to demo a house.
Hell yeah.
You're going to remember that the rest of your life, and you're going to have a new mentor in Dan.
Right.
And then if even the mentor doesn't have to give the same attention or time, but just
that one moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or even the student just knowing that I could text Dan and be like, yo, what's up with this? Or like, yo,
how's this work? Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't see that. You don't really see that in public schools.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They don't teach you trades.
No.
They stopped doing. They used to teach it a long time ago.
They don't teach you taxes.
Right?
No.
They don't teach you taxes.
They don't teach you credit.
They don't teach you. They don't teach you mental health.
No.
Yeah.
And this is why We Love Philly was started, right? Like being a teacher and going, I'm tired of hearing people talk about all the things they should teach in high school.
Yeah.
So it obviously needs to be created, because this is like a nationwide thing that everyone says. It's not just
we
Philly.
could go anywhere, look at each other, and say those same things weren't taught, and I guarantee most people are like, yeah, I didn't learn that in high school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's done. You can't do that anymore.
I feel like taxes should be the primary focus, because look, 18, you guys are gonna have to pay this.
Taxes.
Yeah.
They never speak about it.
No.
I didn't
That's
learn about
crazy.
taxes till I was 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't pay them for 4 years.
I still got to
Did
give
you go to IRS when the time came?
I was
Yeah. Whoa.
No
Leave
comment.
it out, Justin.
No comment.
Hefe. Yeah. No comment. Yeah.
No comment.
I want to ask. So, can you speak on the schedule of a teacher? Because I know you said it's a lot.
So legit schedule. I mean, once again,
If you care, right?
if you care.
Okay,
all right.
cool, yeah.
So I'll go
Versus if you don't care.
versus if you don't care.
Right.
So I woke up at what time did I wake up today? I woke up at 6.
Right.
And then I walked my dog, and then at 6:30 school started at 8:40. So I started to grade, get ready for the next day. I also have We Love Philly stuff, so then I'd like try to set time for that. School started 8:40, teaching all throughout the day until 3. Yeah, till 3.
From 8:45 to 3.
To 8:40 to 3. And that's COVID. it was 7:40 to 3 before COVID. So.
Right. And it,
damn, so I used to wake up at 5 before COVID.
Right.
So once that is done, I grade some more. I have to get ready for tomorrow. Now it depends. You can just get ready for tomorrow, right? You have to make the slides. You got to find the resources. You got to find the videos. You got to develop the questions around the video, discussion, all of that, right? Then it depends on what your administration for the school is like. So some schools are like, yo, you got to put in writing. So all that creating you do, all of the PowerPoints, everything you're creating, now you got to take all that and put it all in paper.
And get
and
it
justify
approved,
it.
basically,
And, So now you have to do that every single week for the 5 days that you're going to do it, or it depends on the school. And then inside of that lesson, right, those 5 lessons for the week, that's a part of a bigger unit that lasts a marking period. So then you have to, before you even do those, do a unit plan where you're planning out like the skeleton of everything.
That's a lot, bro.
And then,
like, yo, I'm gonna be real.
And
like,
then grading, the grading is what probably takes the longest, and that's that if you care versus if you don't care. If you don't,
you could just mark that shit, right?
Exactly.
If
you don't
I know
care,
if I was, I'm like, oh, I got an A on this. I'm getting A's, crazy, mom. Like,
and I thought that was good until I started teaching, and then I started leaving like a paragraph on a paper, and then having the kid come up to me and be like, "What you wrote on that paper, like, made me think this new way." Or thank you so much for writing that. Yeah. Once you see it's that personal one-on-one feedback, you have to think 2020, the kids aren't used to getting handwritten letters. It's like a novelty to them, right?
Like,
they're so used to text
crazy,
messages, email. So when someone like sits down, writes a letter, like trying to have a conversation, like they'll write back, give back the paper, and I'm like, good. Like this is that feedback. We're developing that relationship.
right.
Teaching's all about developing the relationship, and you can only develop relationships when you give time and energy. And that's what good teachers need to be careful of, because you're always giving. And when you're a teenager, you're not thinking about giving back. Once again, you could be the greatest teenager ever. You're still only thinking about yourself. That part of your brain's not fully developed yet.
Right. You're thinking about college. You're thinking about everything else. You're not thinking about how is my teacher's life.
It's not until you're like 22 and you're like,
wow, that guy was dedicating himself a lot.
Once you learn dedication and you dedicate yourself to something, you're like, oh, yeah, remember that guy? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
and
crazy.
those are the best things. I feel like that's what the good teachers do it for.
Yeah.
Is for that memory to come back.
Yeah.
Like,
you just got to be patient, right? Because
Yeah.
it takes like 5 years, and then they show up at your door.
They're
like,
coming back.
And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, yeah.
And your friends on Facebook and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Wow, that's a crazy schedule for a teacher. So what about burnout? How does that affect teachers? And then how does that affect the education of a student? Because don't you got to fight through it? You can't just take off days, right?
Yeah, no.
What is burnout?
Like burnout is like when you just, like for me as an entrepreneur with my business, burnout for me is like, I'm just done.
Oh, like,
you know what I mean? Like,
exhaustion.
you're
Like,
exhausted.
I'm just done.
Burnout's when I'm like, I'll just give the check. Not ready to fire.
Okay.
But you don't
fuck that.
You gotta. You don't. It's so real. Like, I'm not exaggerating. And if I literally eat brown rice and vegetables, like,
because you need the energy.
Yes.
So you can't afford to eat no bullshit.
No. And you can't drink at all during the week. Like, I tried to teach hungover once. Wreck. Not terrible idea.
The kids didn't know you were hungover, but you felt it though.
But
it
was terrible.
Crazy.
It was right when I started, right? It was, I don't know what it was, but it was
10, 20 years ago and shit.
It was it's whack. You don't have the patience, right? Teaching is all about patience, not letting them see that you're getting upset, because once again, you're a teenager. You want to, like, once they're upset, you're like, oh yeah, look at him, look at him.
I remember
look at him, he mad,
bro, he mad, like him. But I remember making our teachers cry in 7th grade. Oh yeah. And I remember really thinking in 7th grade, like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, this woman was crying. Like,
I was the devil as a student.
I wasn't. I used to get teased a lot. I think that's we gotta.
Are we done?
I think.
Okay, cool. Give us 2 minutes.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, burnouts is so real. I mean, that's the problem with education in general, is all of these people who are great teachers, they all quit. I remember being at Temple. We sat in a class, senior year at Temple. I was pissed at the time. He said, look around. He said, in 5 years, 70% of you won't be teaching anymore. I was like, bro, why are you telling me that senior year? Why are you telling me that freshman?
Are you serious?
But,
was it the truth?
But yeah, it's true. All the good teachers are like, yo, if I am putting this much time and energy and I'm making X amount of dollars, I can go give this same time and energy to some other field and make way more money.
Right.
Yeah. And so all the good teachers, you'll lose them.
And they go to the burbs.
They could.
Or they go do whatever.
Suburban teaching jobs. Yeah, they got some cushy
they get
salaries.
Bread, they get a kickback.
They do.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
But yeah, it's burnout's real.
Since we gotta go, where could we find out more about We Love?
Oh yeah, WeLovePhilly.org. We Love Philly on Instagram. We love.Philadelphia on Facebook. Some nightclub guy got We Love Philly.
That's crazy. You could buy it though.
Yeah.
He probably wants a bag though.
I don't know. I never emailed him. But yeah, WeLovePhilly.org. Get involved in a young person's life, even if it's just one young person. For real, you can legit change a young person, especially in Philly. Right, young people are not getting enough love and attention. They're not getting what they need based on my experience being a teacher. So just you being a legit positive role model who goes, no, try it this way, and then just being consistent with them. For real, it makes the biggest difference in a young person's life. So yeah, that's my message. If you have that opportunity, just take it, because you get that energy right back once they start having all the realizations and they're like, yo, thank you so much, and you're like, yes, that's why we're here. We need to build community. And yeah,
that's amazing, man.
That's amazing, man. Well, thanks, Carlos, for coming through World Famous Radio.
I appreciate you.
We got to have you back up. We got to figure some stuff out, man.
Where can we find you on social media?
Oh, like my personal page?
Or do you want that? Do you want that out there?
No, I mean, it's funny. Will's like, you need to set up your personal thing, do a personal thing, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I've always made it about other people.
Go to We Love.
Yeah, go to WeLovePhilly. We Love Philly. It's We Love Los, but ain't nothing on there. So it's just like me and my wife every like once a month.
Right.
Can people still donate?
Yo, yeah, go to WeLovePhilly.org. You can donate. You can donate for whatever you want. We have to pay for a website. We pay the bus is done, but the education doesn't get changed with a bus. We just raised $10,000 recently for a bus.
Big love, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
congratulations.
First
on
ever
that,
fundraiser.
Man.
It was fun.
That's a successful $10,000. That's a
successful fundraiser.
We did it in a month. I couldn't believe it.
Congratulations.
Damn, imagine what you can do in a year, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're gonna keep it rolling, and make the community the classroom. Just come, donate, and I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. Like, we send newsletters. I'll show you follow us on social media. You see exactly what the students are doing. You see how they're commenting to their friends about it. Like, they're posting the stuff on their social media that they're doing in We Love Philly classes. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna show off your that's like the bigger refrigerator. Put it on there for the family. But you're so proud of what you're making and what you're creating and who you're meeting. You're putting it on there.
That's amazing.
I don't know what to say.
Beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Carlos, man. World Famous Radio. Let's do it.
Peace.
World Famous.